episode is sponsored by Some Edibles CBD-infused products. That's SUM Edibles and can be found at
someedibles.com.
They have a variety of yummy treats, including
vegan organic gummies,
brown buttered chocolate chip cookies,
and marshmallow cereal bars, just to name a few.
For fans of the podcast, you can use the promo code WIFE, that's WIFE, to receive 10% off your order.
Again, promo code WIFE for 10% off your order.
So, head to someedibles.com today. Hi, everybody. This is Sarah from Drunken Housewife Reviews.
And I'm her host husband, Ian, who just futilely trying to keep her in line.
Which is
trying to keep her on the rails.
Yes, it's an all-day job. We are here with Lorissa and CJ Julanius.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
So glad you guys could join us today. Hope you're keeping warm. We are here to talk about an interesting movie.
Yes, very original.
Amongst other things, it's called The Misadventures of Misstress Maneater.
You got it on the first try, Sarah.
Yay! Which, Lorissa, you wrote it and starred in it, and CJ directed it. There's other things we'll get into. But just brief recap, you play... Is it Eva?
Ava.
I want to always make sure. Ava. We've watched like 5 movies this week, and I'm trying to keep them all straight. That's why I have my notes. Who is a PhD art student, but to pay the bills, she's a dominatrix, which is an interesting choice. But and she took out a loan from her mobster ex-boyfriend, and he announces she has 30 days to repay it. And
after he dumped her.
Yeah.
In unceremonious fashion.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
He was a jerk. Let's just say that right now. He was a jerk.
Well, he was a
mobster, so of course he's a jerk. Yeah. And you get hired, the character gets hired by the mayor to seduce an Episcopal priest. And hilarity ensues. There's twists, there's turns. Everybody is not exactly who they seem, especially the priest.
It is a fun comedy of errors per se.
Yeah. And we come to find out that the church that the priest works for, I'm trying to keep this all straight because, like I said, there were a lot of twists and turns.
Oh, yeah.
They have a priceless painting that's worth like millions. So not only did you write and direct or write and star, but you also painted this incredible picture for the movie. That is just absolutely.
There's a story there.
Huh? There's a story
there. Oh yeah.
Oh, I want to hear the story now.
Hit us with the story.
Because this painting, I saw it. And I'm like, that is like gorgeous work. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. Now I have to hear the story behind the whole painting thing.
It's called Saving Money.
The title of the painting is We're on a Budget. So Lorissa is a gallery artist, and
one of those things I did in the recession when there was no acting work.
Exactly. And so when Lorissa wrote the script, this painting is literally the MacGuffin in the script, where it is a plot point. And we needed a Baroque looking masterpiece because of the way it's written.
Yeah.
And we had gotten estimates from fine artists that we know that they would be willing to paint it for between $5,000 and $10,000. And I looked at Lorissa upon that estimate and I said, well, it looks like you're making the painting, honey.
No pressure.
Well, it was been a little bit since I'd taken to the canvas, but I said, this is worth it, and I look forward to the challenge. So about 4 months later, she was done.
There's actually a video that we put on our Facebook page at Misstress Maneater Movie.
And my Instagram.
And her Instagram. That's a time-lapse video showing the progress of the painting from its inception as basically a black and white painting and how Lorissa added colors and layers and everything that she did to make it seem three-dimensional and give everything a vibrancy and a life to it. It's interesting because when I saw the painting, I was basically leaving her to her own devices. We've got a studio downstairs that Lorissa does all of her work in. And I was just leaving her be. And when I finally came downstairs to see the progress, I'm intimately familiar with the script, and I know that there's a lot of deeper meanings to it, and one of them is female empowerment.
Yes.
And also the elements of toxic masculinity. And when I saw her composition, the painting is actually called Judith and Holofernes.
It's a tale from the biblical apocrypha for those who aren't familiar with that. So it's not Salome and John the Baptist, as some might think at an initial glance, but it's a very inspiring female power tale, of course, that dates back thousands of years and reflects a lot of the drama that happens in our story.
So the painting itself is a metaphor for female empowerment overcoming toxic masculinity. When you look at it, I mean, it really served the purpose of the film, because the film itself has a lot of deeper meanings. I mean, you can look at our film and say, okay, this is solid entertainment. It's a comedy. There's some belly laughs in it that, I always look at comedies. If I can get 3 or 4 really good laughs out of a comedy movie, I feel like I got my money's worth.
Yeah.
And those are in this movie for sure. But there's a lot of movie viewers who like to look at film and look for more literary aspects within film, of allegory, of metaphors, social issues, things like that. And those are also in the script in abundance, which is something that really drew me to wanting to be making this film.
And with the painting, it's the chiaroscuro style of the early 1600s, which is the Baroque style. It's based on Caravaggio's his original style that he, as the father of the Baroque, created. Extreme light and dark, extreme juxtaposition for creating that drama. And we reflect that not only in our characters, a dominatrix and Episcopal priest. You can't get more light and dark or opposites than that. But then also even in the composition that our masterful director of photography and our lighting gaffer put together, like for the fight scenes, you'll notice they're all lit just like Caravaggio paintings with that black and the
interesting,
and the drama and the light in the foreground, just like the painting.
So as a director working with our DP, those were choices that we made early on, that we wanted it to have those visual aspects to make it more visually appealing than what you may typically see in some lower or medium budgeted movie entries. So.
And I mean, I was going to hit on that, but you took the ball and ran with it on that one. So,
it sounds more elegant coming from you than from us.
Yeah, because we have been like, it was really cool lighting on the fighting scenes. Good job, and you added all the 10-cent words. So, thank you for that. I just want to thank you though for a very strong, in so many ways, female character. Who's not the I'm gonna let the man figure out how to save me sort of character, which we see too often.
We're very tired of that.
I'm so tired of that. But she was intelligent, wasn't afraid to show her intelligence, but at the same time got off some really good, sarcastic remarks and some very funny remarks that were just completely awesome. One thing I am jealous of though, and it's going to sound really weird, is your talk to text game as strong as your characters talk to? Because I noticed it was exactly what you said. And every time I've tried talk to text, it's like, no, I don't mean cougar, I mean cough.
No, I really, really should have added that as an extra joke at the script. I will admit that. But I will say dictation does not accept semicolon.
No,
really?
That I know. So that is pure fiction. That's pure movie magic then. Pure movie magic. Yeah, because I was like, I never get talk to text to work for me, so I gave up. You know,
I've noticed the Google technology set tends to be a little better than what was built into my phone. So often I switch to that. I'm like, you're stupid.
Okay.
Give me Google. But I've noticed that, when it comes to certain things, historical figures, like yesterday I was researching the Mongol warlord Ogadei Khan. It did not know what Ogadei Khan was, but its guesses were
Google does not know everything.
It was
contrary
very
to
basic.
popular belief.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know sometimes I go to Google something and it's like, it's just like, what language are you speaking? I have nothing. I have nothing. Google's like, I've got nothing. I got nothing on
This
this.
is the difference between Lorissa and I. Lorissa will Google, the background and history of Ogadei Khan. When I will Google things like how much methane is in a fart.
I mean,
well, you need that yin and yang.
Yeah.
I mean, you really
So
do.
this is the difference between she's Jessica Rabbit, I'm Roger Rabbit.
well, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Hero.
Yeah, I would say,
Light and dark, yes.
yeah, I would say my Google searches tend to go towards, has there ever been a serial killer in, insert town name here? And, his is generally, did my favorite band, insert band name,
Of course.
stuff like that. So he's more music. I'm more serial killer.
Yeah.
Um,
You're more smart and I'm more dumb.
But aren't we so fortunate that we live in the era of Google? I mean, for all of us who remember before Google, and you just had to hope that your, half drunk know-it-all uncle knew what he was talking about when you asked a question and didn't make you look like an idiot later.
Right.
Exactly. My dad was that guy. We called it, his trivial trove of useless information.
Yep.
Yet sit him down to watch Jeopardy. And if only we could have gotten him on the show, because we would have been millionaires. But he's like, nah, that involves travel. It's like, dude, help us out here. But yeah, no, I love the fact that the character was not afraid to show her intelligence, was not afraid to show her not only physical strength, but her character strength, her fortitude, I guess is the word I'm searching for. And just didn't let anybody really walk all over her. She's just like, I am who I am and get out of my way. And I like that in a character.
I'm so enjoyed that. That's something that, I spent many years refining her. It was from when Ava Moriarty, who was actually inspired by the BBC show Sherlock. But from when she was conceived to when we shot, it was 5 years of developing her and refining her. Is that mine? Is that yours? Whose is that?
So
I'm just making sure it's not me. Sorry about that if that was me. But I was like, that was blowing me up. So with her, I said, what do I want to see? Just like you said, what have I not seen enough of? And what do I want to play? I remember being a kid when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was all the rage.
Yeah.
And the kids, 6-year-olds in the playground, it was all the group of boys. They'd always be playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I had never seen. I watched Star Trek: The Next Generation with my parents, but they're like,
choice.
So I knew nothing about the Turtles, but I knew that they're like, you play April. And I was like, no, I don't want to play April, because I knew that girls in this setting, I think it was late 80s, early 90s. Generally had to wait on men to rescue them and were pretty useless. So I said, I want to be the rat, but the rat's a boy. I don't care. I want to be the rat.
Yeah, it's just, I know. Yeah, that's one thing that we'll be watching a movie and I'm like, okay, so she's the character that's in trouble. That's going to be the guy that's going to rescue her. Okay, I don't need to watch any more of this movie. Yeah, it's like,
and I think we can go to the opposite extreme though too. So that's a balance, chiaroscuro, that I wanted to keep in there. Was like, okay, how do I create this yin yang, empowering for both people? I don't want it to be just about kick-ass superhero woman and all these men are awful and all of them are toxic. I wanted to show, all right, that's the old modality. But we have a new modality of what I believe the richest and truest romance can be found, of the two soulmates who help each other heal and who are interdependent, and who ultimately at the end they need each other in order to both triumph over the adversity that both of them face.
Yeah,
he doesn't save her, but she doesn't completely save him. They both save each other.
Yeah, because it just seemed like at the end they were really kind of on a level playing ground as far as everything. It's like he knew that he didn't need to rescue her, and she knew she didn't need to rescue him. But yeah, it was really kind of that coming together of equals, which
was the idea of Larissa's script. We wanted to show that women deal. I mean, I'm a white man who's been successful in my life. The rules are different for me than they are for Larissa.
Yes.
And I have seen a lot of the nonsense that she's dealt. We've been married for 16 years, and I've seen a lot of the nonsense that she's dealt with over the years, and it's turned me into a pretty much of a feminist. And you know, looking at women not as an other entity or somebody completely different. They're human beings with different, I mean, we have different strengths and different weaknesses. And when you find the right person, you complement each other's strengths and you help overcome the weaknesses. And we wanted to show that in a script that resulted in a movie with characters and scenarios that you just haven't seen before.
Yes.
You know, as movie viewers, you understand that because you can call plot points 10, 15 minutes ahead of time in so many movies. And when Larissa and I watch movies, it's the same thing. And when Larissa wrote this, she wanted to come up with something where the viewer was taken on a ride that made them like jump, like I didn't see that coming. And that's what makes it entertaining. And that's what we're really proud of.
Yes. And you guys did an excellent job with that. Cause yeah, there were just so many parts where it's like, okay, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I need to it's like pause. I need to process this for a second. So thank goodness it was on streaming, so I could pause. And I'm like, okay, process for a second.
Recalibrate.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me rewind, make sure I
okay.
saw that right. Okay, I did see that right. Okay, let's continue. I think I'm ready to continue.
Well, I think we talk about a little bit of their the different awards.
So the Love Wins Fest official selection, Cannes even semi-finalist, Burbank International Fest semi-finalist, Mile High Film Fest Best Comedy, and Indie Fest Film Awards official selection. So you got some, you know.
And I just, because Mrs. way too truthful, I have to throw in there, this is a different Cannes Fest than what everybody knows.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, that's impressive.
There, and it was an independent international. Yeah, so it's slightly different. There's a lot of fests like that are kind of similar but different. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
You know,
too honest.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you have some awards for this film, so that speaks highly. I'm one of those weird people that after I watch a movie, I like to read what other people, other reviews about it, and everybody was pretty much kind of either I didn't find ones that disagreed with me, or everybody agreed with me about the character, the plots, the twists, the everything. It was, I mean, I'm trying to think of other words to say other than awesome, and it was for me. I need a thesaurus. But this isn't your first outing writing. You also wrote 2 musicals.
We premiered a musical that I wrote the book and lyrics to in 2013, a big, huge multimedia epic that I produced and CJ here directed, the cast of 40, massive undertaking. So that was kind of our first step on this scale, because we have a long experience in the theater realm, directing, producing. I'm a published playwright. I've been produced around the world. More than anything, and so I joke that I think I was Cecil B. DeMille in a past life, because I don't like doing anything small. So Mistress Maneater was my version of a small, low budget movie. I like to have everything a little bit larger than life.
Well, go big or go home.
Yeah, but I like stories that are smart and funny and sexy and exciting with high stakes and a lot of heart. And you find it a lot of times when, like you said, you go big.
Yeah. And the musical, let me make sure I'm pronouncing it, Zenobia,
yes.
Zenobia, which I couldn't find the full thing, but I did find clips online. Strong performances. Some of those singing voices were just phenomenal in the clips that I saw. But yeah, it was big scale. There's like, the screens in the back with video going and fight scenes, and
it was an impressive and ambitious project. I've directed and produced scores of theatrical productions, and one of the things I discovered was when you use projections, it really kind of like opens up your ability as a director and storyteller to add things that you wouldn't typically be able to do with a staged production, because stage productions are tell me mediums, whereas film productions are show me mediums.
And that was kind of the bridging between the two, making it multimedia to reach a new generation.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we embrace some technology to incorporate some cinematic aspects to our productions, and I've done it in multiple productions. I did it with a production of Amadeus, and Amadeus.
It's one of my favorite ones. Yes.
Yeah, it takes place in Austrian palaces. And, I'm not going to recreate an Austrian palace on my stage, but what I can do, I can get giant back projection screens, and I can project those images onto that screen and create backgrounds that, that are literally from castles.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It makes a huge difference when telling your stories.
So yes, we have a lot of experience making big epics on little budgets.
Little teeny budgets.
Well, I think there's a fine art in being able to take a nickel and stretch it until it screams. So I totally applaud that.
We can't take all the credit for that. In both cases, we had an incredible team that just believed in the project, believed in what we were doing, believed in the story, and so many volunteers. And in the case of Misstress Maneater, we knew from the very beginning, one of our very first steps was, hey, how are we going to make this happen financially? How are we going to make sure we do everything right and don't crash and burn? And make it come out the other side with an amazing movie. And that was choosing a line producer who, as many people have said, kind of to what you were alluding to, what you were saying, can make $1 out of 15 cents. And that was
yes. Like I said, that is a talent in and of itself.
Well, we're also a firm believer in the more creative you are behind the scenes, makes up for any lack of funds that you have. Because you can have somebody shoot something on VHS, but if you're an amazing person behind doing all these creative things behind it, you can still come out with an amazing movie without it costing a lot of money.
You know what that takes? Time. Yeah, I think there's a rule in filmmaking. You can have it good, you can have it fast, you can have it cheap. Pick two.
Yeah.
So if you want it good and you want it cheap, it takes a lot of time. And for our case, that meant really long pre-production, so we could secure all of these beautiful locations.
And we did it all ourselves too. I mean, literally. We formed Binary Star Pictures, Lorissa and I, to make these kind of projects. But we also had to look at it as this is a startup. So not only did I direct the movie, but I also cleaned the toilets. And, so we did all the casting, we did all the location scouting, the contracts, doing all the, the networking and politicking to make sure that we had everything ready to go. And we looked at it also very much like a good manager looks at things. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And there are things that Lorissa and we were smart enough to know that there were things we didn't know.
You can't let ego get in the way.
Definitely.
So we brought
into the choir.
We brought in people who had been there before, who were in our corner and believed in us and we've got a pretty strong track record in the entertainment business, but we're brand new to the film business.
Exactly.
And we didn't go in with any pretensions like, we know everything, because that's just going to alienate people anyway. And we didn't know everything. We needed help, and we sought it and we got it. So we're happy about that.
Yeah. And speaking of locations though, you guys filmed this in Crown Point, Valparaiso, what other kind of local to us locations?
Us
Um,
being just south of you guys.
yeah,
Oh,
Okay,
really?
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Olympia Fields, Wheaton.
yeah.
So all those areas, and it was amazing. I mean, when we moved to Northwest Indiana, when we saw Valparaiso for the first time, just looking at homes, I took the video and photos, and I said, "This is Justimere." Well, for those of you listening, Justimere Town is the name of our fictional town.
Justimere is Pleasantville.
Yes.
It's like perfect. Everything's idyllic and lovely, and you can imagine this charming small town romantic thing happening there. So it pretty much came all, as soon as we moved here.
The town itself turned out to be a character.
And it was a great resource and ally. So many of the people in the town helping us out, believing in what we were doing, and just excited to see the beauty here being showcased in film.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
because
cool.
we've done an interview with John Hancock,
He
who
lives right
directed.
near us.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
and we are all just kind of amazed. Indiana is so behind the times. It's like there's so much untapped potential with filming locations here, but Indiana doesn't do any of the tax breaks or anything like that to help filmmakers. And
Well, I think that there's a bill right now in the state legislature where they're trying to foster that, as in to bring more. I'm not sure. I would say legislature, but I would say where this gets decided. Don't listen to me as far as like where it's actually being done. But I think they're trying to introduce more of that to bring more incentive to come to Indiana. I think they're working on that right now, according to my Indiana Filmmakers Network sources. So,
but yeah, I mean, I think that's something that this movie kind of shows is look what we can do in Indiana. Look what we can do with these locations here. Make it easier, make it more inviting for filmmakers such as yourselves or others to come to Indiana and take advantage of these beautiful locations, around the state.
Yeah, we were really impressed by all of the incredible support that we received from businesses who understood who we were and what we wanted to do. Lorissa and I, we went, I got in a suit, Lorissa got dressed up. We looked very, very, very professional. And we went and we met with Valparaiso University, for instance.
Okay.
And I wanted to film at the Art Institute of Chicago for our museum scene. And
I can only imagine.
Can only imagine.
couldn't
Yes.
afford it, and we discovered.
Were so fortunate. One of our greatest allies was the museum director.
Yeah, his name is Greg Hertzley.
And he went to bat for us so many times.
Yeah, he did. And
didn't know us.
So he went to the chancellors of the school with what we were wanting to do, and they're like, this sounds great, and we will let you film here. It was amazing. They made us get extra insurance, which cost us more, but ultimately it was far less than if we had, gone to the Art Institute. And we did a lovely museum scene that made our film
and libraries
and the library as well. It made our film look like $1 million when you have really great locations.
Yes.
It makes a huge difference, especially at the realm that we're at, because a lot of indie films, they're filmed very inexpensively and a lot of the locations. I mean, it literally could be a very sparsely adorned apartment, and we don't watch movies for those reasons.
Well, even lower budget cable movies that you might see, like your Hallmark movies and your Lifetime movies. So many of them, because of budget constraints, under $500,000, a lot of them, and we were far less than that. But you will see that they, there's so many people they have to pay, unions and whatnot, but they'll have 3 to 4 locations and maybe 7 to 8 actors, and that's it.
Yeah.
The story's small, the scope's small, and we just didn't want to play that way.
So we got a lot. We bit off a lot, I'll admit, with like a cast of 40 and probably just as many locations. Though that was a lot of work.
So tell us what. So I'm assuming you guys enjoyed our movie. I'm assuming based on the what were your biggest laugh? What were your biggest laughs?
I'm gonna have to say, I mean, one of the chuckles I got, just because I've been there, done that, is when she comes out of the hotel room and takes off those ridiculous shoes and is limping down the hallway. I'm like, I have been there. I have I think almost every woman on the planet that has ever worn ridiculous shoes because they looked good.
Yep.
Has had that moment where you're carrying your shoes and you're limping down the hallway and you're just like, dear God, just cut my feet off. I think it'd feel better. You know, that I just absolutely love. But there were so many comeback lines that you had that just that made me chuckle. And just, I mean, you know, just so many like little one-off lines that just kind of got the funny bone going. But yeah, that one scene with you limping down that hallway in the rainbow socks, which just
Yes, yeah.
Got them on Amazon.
I mean, the whole, you know, black leather dominatrix look, rainbow socks, limping down.
I love absurdist humor.
Good side gang.
Yes.
Yeah, we tend to go toward absurd. What about you, Ian? What was your biggest laugh?
Oh my gosh, I would have to say the same thing because I don't know. It kind of reminded me of a no, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just a drag queen having to deal with something like that. And so that's what it just kind of reminded me of, that whole just dealing with that. I don't know. And I just thought it was really, really funny too.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, there were, you know, we both on some of her comebacks.
Oh yeah,
just
witty,
said straight.
very
That's what that's
yeah. So she
yeah. When you say the funniest line in the world, but you've got that straight face, and you know, then the other person is like, is she trying to be funny? Is she, you know, just the look on their face.
Yeah.
Just
We try to leave it open to the audience. You know, that's what good art is. You can make it whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And if it's done well, it's going to inspire a little bit of conversation or thought afterwards. There's a scene I'd like to touch on. There's a scene where Hubert, who plays the toxic masculine, basically a lot of these men are composites. So he plays the kind of like harasser that toxic masculinity comes across. And he tells Ava that he's got truck balls and that are modeled after real life. And where the genesis of that scene actually was when we were looking for homes in Indiana. We're driving down I-80 coming to look at our house that we're presently in. And the billboards coming into Indiana, what do you see on the billboards? It's God, guns, fireworks, lawyers and boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome
Right?
to Indiana.
Welcome to Indiana. So we're driving along and this giant truck comes next to us, lifted up, giant truck, you know, and hanging from the back of it is these truck testicles.
Yes.
And I find them very distracting when I'm driving down the road. It's like, I feel like I'm going to crash somewhere.
Yes.
Just 'cause I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
We start laughing at this clown. I mean, and I said to Lorissa, I was like, you know what? The color on those balls.
We both agree. I think we both said it.
Yeah, the color on those balls are wrong because this guy is not getting any. Believe me, he is not getting any. So they really need to be blue. Anybody who drives a truck like that is.
That's funny.
They're compensating for something. Yeah. They're compensating for something.
Exactly.
Having dated a guy with a big truck like that, trust me, they're compensating for something.
So that's where that came from. And then a couple of the other scenes that got a lot of laughs when we did our premiere was the fantasy kiss after the fire. When it transitions to reality, that was giant. The auditorium erupted in laughing.
Because I wanted to make fun. I mean, I love romance, but I also love comedy. So I did want to gently poke fun at some things too, if it ever got close to the melodramatic.
At the genre, it pokes fun at the genre, literally, you know.
Yeah.
And, and then there's a scene towards the end after it got really heavy, we had to lighten it up, and that's the scene where Gabe is in the coat closet with.
Well, we won't have to.
We're not going to divulge that one.
I know it's hard to like talk about this without.
Yeah, you don't want to spoil anything.
You know,
we don't want
giving away too much because there's like I said, those twists and turns that when you find out about them, you're just like, did not expect that, and I can't.
Yeah, there's a lot of those moments where you didn't see that coming.
I can't talk about the biggest one because then it would ruin it for everybody. Because I just feel everybody needs to see the one character twist that you're just like, you know,
it
did not expect
the
that.
actor's mother when she saw it, she could not.
I can see that.
Yeah, like I said, this Yeah, it's one that's almost kind of hard to talk about because you don't
Right.
want to give
Yeah.
away too much,
Oh,
because
go ahead. keep
yeah,
going.
because those moments have to hit you as a surprise. I don't want people going, oh, this must be
That
coming
part.
up on that
Yeah.
scene that they were talking about, and it's like, I don't want that. I want they're
Yeah,
just
there's enough in there where you just gotta follow along and just see what happens.
Yeah.
As far as it's not
yeah.
your typical
Yeah, and like I said,
chase.
there are moments where you have to
Yeah.
hit pause and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be doing the laundry and browsing Facebook at the same time. That's for sure.
Yeah, you really kind of have to, because I know I'm bad about that. I'm so bad about that, watching something and watching Dr. Pimple Popper videos or whatever, at the same time. I'm gonna admit it right now. And yeah, with this movie, I'm like, putting the phone down, pushing it away from me. I have to rewind because I'm not for sure I caught that. Okay. Yeah.
I wish there were more movies like that, though, that really completely drew our complete attention. Because I love studying mindfulness, Eastern philosophy, and how and personal development, how to make our brains function to serve us as well as possible, which, of course, as most people know nowadays, is single tasking, not multitasking for
I agree with
optimal
that,
brain health. But think about how many movies, kind of like the ones we're alluding to, especially the way that romantic comedies have gone in recent years, where there isn't enough there to keep your interest. So of course you're automatically going, okay, what's going on my Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you're bored.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like you brought up the Hallmark movies. Somebody's going to move from the big city to a small town. For X reason, and they're going to follow, they're going to be attracted to small town florist, pharmacist, innkeeper, whatever. It's going to snow. There's going to be a dog. Somebody's going to start a snowball fight, and it's
There'll be a dead parent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Dead parent,
There's a
dead
great
relative.
article online about how to write a Hallmark movie, and it's satire, but it's right, because I recently had to audition for one, and about half of the plot points it mentioned, like you said, it was like, that was in that script, that was in that script, that was in that script. And for people that enjoy that, more power to them. Exactly. I just personally want more out of my stories.
I mean, I know some people have described them as like a comfort movie.
Yep. It's like mac and cheese, and I love mac and cheese, and there's always a place for mac and cheese, but sometimes I kind of want to go and try something unexpected and surprising that lights my mouth up.
Yeah, it's like, can we throw something else in the mac and cheese? Like maybe, buffalo chicken mac and cheese. Let's spice it up a little. It's just because my mom loved Hallmark movies, and every time we'd go over at Christmas, it's like, oh God, there's a Hallmark movie.
Well, maybe, I think the comfort is that it is safe and there are no surprises.
Yeah. I mean, somebody brought up, like, especially during the pandemic when people were streaming series or movies that they had seen 100 times before, there was a comfort in it. Because what's coming, what's going to happen. There's no surprises, because there were way too many surprises and left turns going on, outside, so there is a place for comfort. But at the same time, if I'm watching something brand new that I have never seen before, I want the twists, I want the turns, I want the surprises. I want to have to be like, did I just see that? Did they just say that?
Yeah, that's what delights people.
Here's a question for you, Sarah. Have you ever read romance?
Oh yeah.
Don't get her started.
No. Okay, well,
I think every woman, like teen years and a little beyond, goes into that romance.
J.R. Ward?
Yes.
She's one of my favorites. When I read a lot more of that, and having pitched, Mistress Maneater, I adapted from a novel manuscript I wrote with the romance genre in mind, having gone to those conferences, having enjoyed that entire genre, the top-selling genre in the world by far. You know as well that there are those novels that are produced as product, usually monthly subscription sort of things. They're very formulaic. They can't have this, they can't have that, and they're very, very predictable. But then, and you forget about them. It's pulp. But for people that enjoy that, for its comfort food, great for them. I'm not knocking that. But then you have the standalone novels, because romance has come so far in the last 30 years. People who haven't read it, who make fun of it, don't understand that. And it is a massively sophisticated genre. To me, in many ways, it's still comfort food because, as CJ has pointed out in many, many interviews, just like our movie, you have the two tropes of, you got to meet in the beginning and the characters will end up at the end, happily for now or happily ever after. Those are the rules, but anything can happen in between. So you can go on this insane, unpredictable roller coaster ride that, has you on the edge of your seat, but deep down, these characters will end up together and it will be satisfying, but it's, very a gripping story in the meantime, finding out how the heck is that going to happen.
Great.
Yeah. It's kind of like what's the word? A story sandwich. It's like, you've got your bread at the beginning and you've got your bread at the end and those are going to be there, but there's no rules on what's going to go into that sandwich.
Exactly. And it's more than just peanut butter and jelly in the genre, which it has come so far and is so much more sophisticated. And I wanted to reflect those sensibilities in this movie, because so many of these, like J.R. Ward, for example, and there's another one, God, I'm trying to remember the author, but it's steampunk and mystery and humor and supernatural and, all of this in one novel, and it works.
Yeah. If my hairstylist niece were here, she'd be like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. Cause she generally, she's the one that gives me books. She's like, you have to read this. You have to read this. And I'm like,
the Soulless series. That's what it is, Soulless. But I love just how far things have come. But no matter what, there are other rules that I don't see in romantic comedy movies. And this is why I feel like so many of them are shallow from Hollywood, in theaters as well. You have to have an inner journey and an outer journey, an inner goal and an outer goal for both male and female. And both of them are supposed to be treated equally, like completely strong characters in and of themselves, not one serving the other and being two-dimensional. They both have to be fleshed out with their own needs, their own backgrounds, their own traumas, their own wants. And that's something we don't often see on film, but we see it in books.
Yeah,
we saw it in our movie. Literally.
I believe so.
Yeah.
They're both damaged by their pasts, and
so they have that
redemption.
To be healed.
But they find redemption in each other and strength in each other.
Yes.
And they come to a place where they can reconcile those things, and I think that's the story of any successful couple. Lorissa and I met. It was the same thing with us. There are scars around our hearts, and addressing those and helping each other work through those things, it drew us closer together and cemented our bond. And we're going on 17 years together, 16 years marriage. And it just keeps getting better and better and better because we understand some of our deeply held histories.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference in what our story is. And a lot of that, they say, write what you know. And
I always end up coming back to romance because it's such a huge part of my life, being married to my best friend.
I totally understand that, because we met on the internet back when we're going on 25 years. So this was,
congratulations.
Yeah, this was back when the internet, when, the only people you could find on the internet were perverts and serial killers, according to my mother.
It's still that way.
Yeah. And so when I said I met this, guy on the internet and I want to go meet him in person, he lived in Terre Haute, where my entire family is from. So when I got there, I had to check in with various family members.
And there's a romantic comedy.
Yeah. And then call them every hour I'm fine. I'm still fine. I'm still alive. He's not a serial killer. I swear. But we met in August and married in December.
Wow. I love that.
The second we met, I'm like, click. This is it.
Yeah.
This is.
Well, we had talked. She was in Indianapolis. I was in Terre Haute. We had been talking on the phone for like 2 to 3 weeks before she could actually have the time, because she was a nanny, to actually go and have that weekend to go see me. So we had actually been talking and kind of going over our past before, because I had gone through marriage, no kids. That's another story. and we're both at like 29 and 30.
I was not 30 yet.
You cougar, yeah.
So I was 27, she was 29. And so we had all already gone through that. So we knew what we did not want and who we were. We were at that point. It's like we kind of went over that, and with, like you said, with the scars, and we just we knew who we were, and we just clicked. And so, and yeah, she was the, we were both creatives as well. She's actor and director, and I'm an actor and a writer, comedian, whatever. But we knew where our heads were at, and we're just the weird flip side of each other. So we definitely understand that. So
yeah. But we were married how long before you were like, yeah, I'm glad you're the one that has it all together? And I'm like, oh God, I thought you were the one that had it all together.
It's always that way.
Yeah, it's like, crap, how have we made it? It was what, 20 years? How have we made it this long? And we each thought the other one had it together. Don't know, but it worked.
I can relate to that. Fortunately, that's part of the reason we work so well together. And you guys can probably relate to this, is that we have enough in common, but also our strengths and weaknesses complement each other. So like, if we were completely different, there's no way it could work.
And if we were completely alike, it wouldn't work either, because Loretta.
Yeah.
So I'm more of a glass half full kind of personality, where she is more of a cynic than I am.
Sorry, but
but the thing is like, as an optimist, I need that cynical outlook, because as an optimist, I'll be too trusting sometimes.
And I'll be like, be careful with this person. I see red flags.
And then with her, sometimes she's a little too cynical, and I need to pull her back a little bit too.
I couldn't be with someone who was pessimistic and a downer. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've had to tell him, it's like, okay, I know this person wants to look at what you've written, but until it's signed, we're not going to get excited. You know, until you have a signed contract in front of you, we're not getting excited about this. And we're not going to, just bring it down a little. Bring it down.
We've all been through that as creatives, where we're just like, until that check clears.
Yeah. Until it's written in blood, and Satan himself has come and said, yes, this is a valid contract.
I have a project I'm working on right now, trying to get the rights to a script. And, I'm very reluctant to tell people about it, because there's no contract. There's nothing on the dotted line, So as artists, I think we all deal with the imposter syndrome quite a bit. Like somehow we don't deserve what we've accomplished, or we don't deserve what we have, or whatever. But at the end of the day, for Lorissa and I, we made a very well received movie that's out to the world. And how many people have done that, and how many people are capable of doing it? So but the other thing is we're just ordinary people. We're just ourselves, and we're in our own skin, and we don't see it the way maybe other people do. And somebody told me the other day, he was like, you guys are really down to earth, ordinary people, but you've done something extraordinary that most people don't do. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a way to look at it. But we've always done it. Directing and producing live theater is something that people just typically don't do. That's actually how we met. And I always tell people,
I couldn't stand him when I met him.
She hated my breath. I was way too. I'm a veteran, so I have a very kind of like cocky, confident air about me. And she, very alpha, and she didn't know how to deal with that when we first met. But the thing I always tell people, especially with relationships, if you're looking for somebody, get involved in something you're really passionate about. And it doesn't have to be theater, although I do recommend theater, because it's a bunch of people coming together from disparate backgrounds to create something they couldn't do on their own.
Spending a lot of time together, but with no pressure of, we have to perform for each other, we're on a date. You get to see what people are like when they don't think anyone else is paying attention.
Exactly. So you're coming together, and you're doing things together over the long term, getting to know each other. And then by the end of it, you're partying together, you're hanging out at bars together. And my theater company, that I was the artistic director of a theater company outside of Chicago, it resulted in 6 marriages.
Wow.
By people coming together, and untold friendships and connections that are platonic and professional. I would say probably half of our circle comes from doing that type of thing. So relationally, if you're looking for somebody, or you need to get out of your box or get out of your rut, and do something that makes your heart sing, because by doing that, you'll be with other people who enjoy the same thing that makes their heart sing. And you just don't know where it's going to lead.
I think we were all kind of the artsy types. I think we were all misfits in high school, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when we find our fellow misfits, it's like, oh, this is a place to belong where I'm understood, even though I know that I'm the weirdo.
Yeah. What is it? Find somebody whose insanity meshes with yours.
Yes, I always say that someone who's
Yes.
just as crazy as you, not more crazy, not less crazy. Same level of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It can be a different kind of crazy, but it has to be one that clicks well with what your crazy is. So yeah, and once you found it, then it's bliss.
Well, when you get to a podcast on relationships, invite us back.
We may,
never
because
know.
we interviewed.
What's funny though is that this is our first project we've actually worked on together.
He's been trying to talk me into something forever.
Well, I'm
Forever.
surprised as actress, writer, director,
Yeah.
actor.
Well, see,
you know,
I did write a play that was produced in Chicago. If you remember the Gorilla Tango Theater,
yes.
I do, of course.
they produced a play that I did called Bingo, about bingo ladies, and I wanted to put it on here in Indianapolis, and I thought, oh, she would be perfect for the lead. She wouldn't do it.
Oh,
She just wouldn't do it.
okay.
Now,
So yeah.
I don't know. There's something about the thought of you directing me.
Well, see, I even said I would give it to a different director. I said, you take the script. I won't even watch it. I'll just be there opening night when you present it, and no judgment. I'll just enjoy it. And she's like, no, I can't do it.
No.
You know what though? I will admit boundaries are important, and knowing what you're comfortable with in the relationship. For us, since we met in that way, he was producing, and then we were only together a couple months when CJ first directed me. So it was kind of like, that's the foundation of our relationship, and I trust him more than any other director. So I understand why that's like a different dynamic than a lot of other couples. But whatever, I think whatever works for you, and every couple needs, I think for their greatest success, they need to know what the boundaries are and what the crossover is and where it works.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've actually
Yeah.
directed probably 4 or 5 actors on how to kiss my wife the right way on stage. You know?
Well, I mean, to talk me into doing this, he said I could drink margaritas and just talk. And I'm like, I can do that.
Smart.
During the pandemic, she was like, well, we do a project together. I said, and then she actually brought it up. Well, we do a podcast. I'm like, well, I've got a microphone and a laptop. We can make this happen. And she's like, well, I don't want to see people see me on camera. It can be audio. And I had her cornered. And then she's like, can I drink like some margaritas or something? Like, yeah, it's a podcast. Oh my God. That can be the theme of the show. She's like, okay, I guess I'm doing this.
So yeah, it works out. He knows what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are.
Well, when we started, it was a film review or TV review, and we have audio, and then like the video was actually just our audio with camera with pictures of who we're talking about. But Mr. Joyner, shout out to Mr. Joyner. He says, hey, I got some people you can interview. So it just kind of expanded into all entertainment. And we're kind of glad sometimes, I'm not going to say sometimes, but to go back into film, because that's kind of where we bond together entertainment wise, is like horror films mostly, but film in general. And so this is very cool of talking to you about film, even though we've talked to authors, hypnotists, the whole gamut of entertainment. So that's been fun, but this has been a blast for me, just talking to people who are doing film.
And a couple, cool as well. You guys, like we said, you guys are our first couple, and you together made an amazing movie. Let's do another little shout out for the movie, The Misadventures of Misstress Maneater. It's available on, I know it's available on Prime Video. Is it available anywhere else? Yeah,
so we are on all the major streaming platforms. We're streaming on Tubi TV, so you can watch our film free with commercials.
Tubi, TUBI for those listening. We highly recommend you check it out. It's part of Fox Corporation.
We're big Tubi people, yes.
It's a really
20th Century Fox. Sorry, just want
to. We're also on Google Play, Apple TV. We're on YouTube. We're on IMDb TV. So just Google us, Misstress Maneater. Just type in, it'll be the first thing that pops up.
Misstress Maneater movie is our handles on Instagram and Facebook if you want to get in touch.
So what can you tell us coming up that you have?
Any new any projects kind of in the burners that you can talk about, or
always?
It's definitely been a little tough with the pandemic. because like this is a
Yeah.
movie we could have never shot with our budget, with all these locations, with all these people, because there's scenes, I mean, there's dozens and dozens of extras, as you saw, with the union restrictions on pandemic. There's nothing, we could have never shot this. And so a lot of filmmakers right now are facing similar hurdles in the low budget range of how do we keep our set safe and follow the protocols we need to follow in order to have the best talent available. And so that is a current challenge. I'm working on a new comedy. CJ's always having things that he's
I've
working
got all
on.
kinds of things going on, but this business is very much like the military. Hurry up and wait.
So yeah, it's like we have
Yeah.
lots of things going, but like you said, until it's signed in blood and that check clears.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So Larissa's writing we received a book from an author that
I'm adapting for
a screenplay, so that's going on. I'm in the process of reading it, so we can kind of like compare notes on how the structure of the script should go. In negotiations with another with a Manhattan literary agent to acquire rights to a different project.
Okay.
In a script. I
I'm
just
assembling
actually had a
sizzles for a
script.
TV show.
I just had a script sent to me this morning for a role that a director, producer, writer has in mind for Lorissa. So there's always things going on. I would like to get back into directing live theater in the Valparaiso area, but you can't get asses in the seats right now because
everybody's, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being cautious right now, but at the same time, it's I know the entertainment business as a whole is just so frustrated because you know, it's like you want to create. It's like it's almost like a drug for some people. You have to create and you can't write, you know, you either can't at all, or there's so many precautions and rules that you have to follow that it's just like, is it worth it? You know, and you know, or can we even get it done?
Ian, Sarah, are you familiar with the Hays Code?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think a lot of that so a lot of filmmakers were probably stifled by that, but so many filmmakers, and for those of you following along who aren't familiar with the production code, I believe it was 1935. That was basically actually in response to Cecil B. DeMille films, among other things. No, you can't say certain words. A married couple, you can't have a kiss longer than 3 seconds. You can't ever show people in bed together. You can't talk about sex. You can't talk about pregnancy.
You can't show a toilet flushing.
All of these.
Exactly.
Rules. But some, I think learning how to pivot in this industry, learning to be flexible, just like in life, acceptance and learn, and just instead of fighting what is, instead of straining against reality and making yourself miserable, accepting what it is and learning how to pivot or to be creative in a new direction. I mean, that we get some of these great romantic comedies that came out of that era, like 1934's It Happened One Night, where it's sexy, it's as well for the era. It was fun, it was charming, it was an Academy Award winner, and yet it followed all these rules and challenged them a little bit in some places. So so what you said about, I've been very excited to see people starting podcasts, trying various ways to express their art, or to be ready for when things are fully open again by writing, by directing, by turning inward and learning a new skill that they wouldn't have learned otherwise.
Yeah. And, stepping out of their comfort zone and appearing on camera.
There you go.
The definition.
Thank God for tequila.
That was CJ. He's like, I love my mango margaritas.
Add mango nectar to those margaritas. You'll be very happy.
You had mentioned when we had talked earlier about mango margaritas, and I'm not a big mango fan, so I found pink lemonade margaritas to step out of my comfort zone with the original margarita. So you have encouraged me to try new things. There you go.
So what you guys are doing is art, and the definition of art is to create something beautiful and compelling out of nothing, out of your own talent, and what you're doing,
and that serves other people.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I think, between the most effective plays. I mean, as a creator yourself, Ian, the most effective plays, the most effective books, the most effective films, they're not made for the filmmaker and the writer to show off. They're made to deliver entertainment and serve the audience and give to the audience.
But there also has to be a passion that comes from the artist. I mean, if you're making films or whatever it is, out of the idea that I'm going to make money from this. It's product. If
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing things that pander to an audience,
You shot yourself in the foot.
you
It's not
got
gonna
it.
Yeah.
work.
It's not
Oh
gonna
yeah,
work.
I
You know,
totally agree with
have
that.
that. There's another saying that I always go by, and this one is really compelling. Without art, we are just apes with car keys and guns.
I totally agree with
I
that.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna
We
have
need
to,
art.
yeah.
We need art.
Oh
There-
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we need the act of creation. And there's another one. Why do so many people over the age of 35 not create art? And the answer to that is because so many people under the age of 35 don't create art. And it's literally the foundation of everything that's beautiful in our lives. So we have to go back to that. And everybody who's listening, try somehow to incorporate art and beauty into your lives, and you'll find enrichment that you didn't know that was available to you.
Definitely.
Oh,
Definitely,
I'm
yeah,
totally
yeah.
a person who's like, even if you're not a creative person, try it.
Exactly.
Nobody
never
says
know.
it has to be quote good to anybody but you, and you'll improve on that. And you'll just the whole idea of creating it will open up a whole new thing for your mind to chew on, as opposed to just the same old drudgery.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Without art, what do we do? I mean, we get up in the morning,
Yeah.
we go to work, we come home, whatever. It's a routine that we need to break free of to have complete whole human existences.
But even if you can't become rich and famous, even if you can't monetize it, I think that is a huge
Oh,
push,
yeah.
especially in the millennial generation, that every hobby has to be monetized and everything has to become a side hustle. But I've also, and I adopted that philosophy for a while, especially during the recession. And it, it meant in some cases it did open a lot of doors. But when it comes to your emotional and psychological health, which ultimately at the end of the day is one of the only things we have, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to lose everything else. We might as well enjoy life and be happy and find peace. So much of that is integral for me, the self-care that comes from those artistic expressions that maybe no one will ever see, that bring me personal joy. And I encourage
Yes.
everyone out there, if you want to be more at peace, more present with your family, with your work, whatever it is, your art doesn't have to, be the greatest thing on earth. I mean, heck, Winston Churchill, how did he relax when he was in the bunkers, for weeks on end, when he had more stress than anybody else, almost anyone else, any other leader in World War II? He painted. Was he a good painter? No.
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 He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have to be perfect. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just if it brings you joy, great.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the
You know?
act of it can just be the best thing that you said for self-care. I really
Yeah.
think that.
Exactly. Well, this has been amazing. We could talk
Oh,
to you
yeah.
guys forever, because you are just so great to talk to. I look forward to your next venture. I'm going to keep my eyes open for your next venture. You definitely can come back here and talk about
We would love that.
I would love that.
your
Well, we
next
could-
creation,
Next creation, more theater, more film, whatever you want to talk about.
whatever.
We'd be down
Just
for that.
just get in touch with us. We'd be glad to have you back.
Can I do the last
yeah.
plug before we sign off? Do you mind?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, plug away.
Plug
and,
away
let
on
it-
whatever you want to plug
let
away.
people know what you got
Okay.
going on.
Yeah.
We're just going to plug the movie. So our film is called The Misadventures of Misstress Maneater. It's a rom-com that basically blows up conventions of the genre, which we're very proud of. So please watch it on all the streaming platforms. You can Google Misstress Maneater and you'll find it anywhere that you have a streaming platform subscription or whatever.
We're averaging 4.5 out of 5 stars on Amazon Prime, and Marie Asner of the Kansas City Film Critics Circle named it her #2 best independent movie of 2021.
She did. So if you
Awesome.
like it, if you like our film, please tell all your friends. Leave us a rating and review. If you want to have your inner critic heard across the world, leave us a review and tell all your friends to watch it. If you hate our movie, tell all your enemies to watch it.
There you go.
There you go. Well, it has been great having you guys on. Again, we look forward to your next creation. I know it's going to be amazing. I know it's going to be different, and it's going to have, like I said, this movie has so many twists and turns. I know you're not going to disappoint on the next one. And it has been absolutely great having you guys on. Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much.
Thank you,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ian.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, what am I doing?
And there we go.
There we
There we go. And again, thanks for guys coming on. We should have this edited and put up within a week. I'm just editing a couple more before this to get those up and ready. So it's pretty easy editing wise, as far as like titles and background music and things like that. So it's
and we will definitely send you guys. Yeah, we'll send you guys a link
when it's
Okay.
done.
Yeah, we'll share it.
Sure.
Yes.
There
Do
you
you
go.
want stills? Do you want art? Do you want anything like that to put in at all at the beginning or end? Do you do that?
Well, if you want to send us whatever, I can put that on the end as with some
especially
background music.
still of the
The painting
painting,
or
since we
whatever,
spent so
so
much time
yeah.
talking about that would be
Sure, we can-
amazing, so that we can
yeah.
We
kind
could
of
send you the video and maybe you could put it in while you were talking about it or whatever, if you want. We can do a lot of it. So one of the things that we didn't talk about is that as filmmakers now, especially independent filmmakers, you've got to do all your own marketing. There's nobody who does it for you. So not only do
Yes.
you have to create a really compelling film in order to even have a chance of finding an audience, you have to tout yourself. And it's kind of like, it's antithetical to Lorissa
Oh,
to
it's
call
so
attention
hard.
to herself. She
Yeah.
does not
Oh.
like it.
I feel you.
But you have to do it. Otherwise, nobody's going to give a shit. And so we do that every single day.
He's the one that's been in charge of making
Yeah,
all
so
this happen,
I
because
do
I'm
that.
just like, put me alone in a room and I will be happy.
Yeah.
So getting Lorissa to talk about this, I mean, this is difficult for Larissa, but
Yeah.
talking to folks like you makes it a lot easier.
Yes, thanks for being awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank
you.
Thank you.
The last person we talked to, it ended wonderfully, but it started off on a rough foot because it was basically, so you guys made something that looks like Sharknado so that you could be a star, Larissa. And I was like, where do we go
Wow.
from here?
That was not why we made the movie.
Wow.
But we
You're
tried
like,
to-
okay, so next.
Yeah, so he hadn't watched it, but I was just like, oh God.
Yeah, he told us that he was, after talking to us, he's going to watch it with his wife. So we're still waiting to hear back on that. But are you guys going to do, I mean, I think I read something that you watched movies and recorded your reactions or.
Well, we don't,
you guys do
we,
that
What it was is the early episodes before we hooked up with Mr. Joyner to do interviews, is that we've got 5 or 6 episodes where we take a movie and we kind of dissect it and talk about all the things that we liked about it and kind of went in depth with it. We did Nicolas Cage's Doing Color Out of Space, which was really good. We did Melissa McCarthy in Thunder Force. John Batista.
How did you feel about that one? Because I know that one got bad reviews, but I
liked it.
Watch.
Yeah.
Have you seen Spy?
Yes.
That is my
I love Spy.
I love Spy.
That's a good one.
I
That's
love
good.
Spy, and I loved Thunder Force because what gets me is so many people are, it doesn't have to be Academy Award winning material
Every time.
every single time. Thunder Force was fun. It was entertaining. It was hilarious. Let it be what it is. Don't try to, and I loved it. I loved it. And so many people were like,
well, my thought about that too is that a lot of people who are reviewing it were under 30 years old. And my thought is, it's not for you. It's for people a little older who understand the being middle-aged and dealing with all these things, and then they become superheroes. It's a whole different, and being as old as we are to look back on the whole superhero genre and being part of that, being thrown into it was just, it's a different perspective. It's a different flavor. It's a different humor. It's not a quote millennial thing. It speaks to somebody. Not every film or not every piece of art is for everybody.
You hit
per
the nail on
se.
the head. You hit the nail on the head. We've had that where we received critical reviews where it was like, okay, clearly this person was with us. They got it. Someone with similar sensibilities, but then you'd get a review where it was like, I feel bad for this person because they clearly, they didn't watch the same things we watched growing up or have the same sensibility or the same background. And so it's like, there's nothing that I could create that I can connect to that they would connect to as well.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I liked it.
They might connect to it, but it's not on the same level. It's something in that it's its own thing and speaks to certain sensibilities, which comes with age and experience to a certain degree. And then it's kind of like if you look at a movie when you're, say, if you're 15, and then you go back and look at that same movie when you're 35. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just a different thing.
Well, and I think with Thunder Force too,
in that respect,
it's kind of also the all-female Ghostbuster curse. People didn't want to see older women being superheroes.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of tainted it as well. And I'm trying
to address that in my new script.
Yeah.
But all my references, which you guys will understand, is like, I try to think, what are those cultural touchstones? Like, everybody will get that, but it's everybody who is older. It's because we had those cultural touchstones where everybody knew the same movies at the same time. I mean, if there's a reference to Last of the Mohicans, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Terminator 2, Independence Day, it doesn't matter if we like those movies, we will get the reference, right?
Yes.
Whereas now people have so many different entertainment options on so many streaming platforms, there is no culture, I mean, maybe like people had The Sopranos and Game of Thrones, but we didn't have HBO. We didn't watch those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel bad that it's like my comedy, Aliens, whatever it is, it's so much older, but I feel like everybody who lived then and appreciated these movies can connect to that.
Yeah, we have friends. We have friends that helped us with our movie. And, I would bring up,
29-year-olds.
Yeah. Have you seen The Terminator? No.
I'm like, how did you not see The Terminator?
Have you seen I like Westerns. Oh, you like Westerns. Have you seen Unforgiven? No.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so how do you connect with these people? Because these are literal, undeniable classics.
Yeah.
That if you like the genre, you have to be informed about them. And all of that stuff, because of the internet and because of movie theaters shutting down and fragmented audiences, people don't have the same experiences as we did. Like, I mean, you guys are older, so you remember, like, in school, in high school, you talk about the TV series you were watching. It might have been Happy Days, it might have been Mork and Mindy, it might have been Cheers, it might have been, everybody saw this stuff.
Yeah, the whole nation is never going to ask who shot JR again. No one's ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's hard to make those kind of references now. I mean, now I see like stars come up on my internet.
Like, who are these people?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody mentions that they're a YouTube star. I'm like, I have no clue.
Yeah.
Absolutely no clue.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll see, our daughter is autistic, but one of her big things is fashion. She loves fashion. And one thing that we would love to do is get like the magazines that showed all the award show fashions. And there would be, movie stars in there that I'm just like, who is this person?
Right.
It's a lovely dress. She looks great, but who is she?
Yeah.
What is she? And I'm having to Google her and I'm like, I have not seen any of this.
Here's a little bit of trivia for you. The boss here was cast on America's Next Top Model, cycle 8.
Cycle 12. It was in 2008.
And she turned it down. She's like, this show is trash. I don't want to do it.
Well, it was what they were asking us to do and whatnot, and the contract was just pretty onerous.
The contract was awful.
I don't think I want to go through this permanent psychological scarring.
Yeah.
I've
heard horror stories about that show. So
yeah.
Well, a lot of reality shows like that, where it's totally exploitive as opposed to actual creative talent. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
One of the things that we wanted to do with our movie is if we can get it to go viral, which that's obviously the goal. We need hundreds of millions of minutes streamed on this. But one of the goals is if you looked at Larissa's outfits in the movie, they were all pretty classic, especially toward the end when she's wearing the red jacket with the choker, and we've had numerous people
That's
contact
actually
us,
menswear, because I love formal menswear,
Yeah.
even for myself.
We've
There
had
you go.
people contact us and like, where did you get that dress? Well, it's not a dress, it's a jacket. It's a jacket, and they're wanting to emulate the style that they're seeing.
And that was all my closet because we were too cheap to go out and buy clothes.
But she has a natural sense of that type of like elevated, sophisticated style.
But
And
it's thrift store shopping,
Yeah, at a certain point, if it takes off the way we want it to, that could be an offshoot where there is a fashion offshoot that comes from this, where Lorissa can be kind of like a taste, not an opinion maker.
But I dislike most fashion, which is the problem. But it's funny you mentioned the heels. I was thinking of, I don't know if you thrift store shop like I do. That's pretty much
yeah.
Sure.
That's pretty much exclusively what I do. Because I'm too cheap to go and pay department store prices, and I hate department store.
Everybody
fashion.
looks at her and thinks that like she's the most highest
I'm
maintenance
so
person, and she's just cheap and down to
Yeah,
earth.
I take pride in. I got these for $2.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about? You see those gorgeous heels, the most magnificent satin prints, and they're 6-inch high heels, and you're like, that is a beautiful work of art that looks absolutely painful, and that's why it is brand new and at Goodwill.
Yes. Yes. I did a play. I don't know if you know the Tuna, Texas
Of course
plays.
I know it very well.
Yeah, we loved it.
Yeah, my theater group, instead of having just 2 people play all the characters, we split it up.
Mhm.
And I played the waitress, I Need a Good One. And there was Tuna Does Vegas, where everybody goes to Las Vegas, and my character ends up as a Vegas showgirl. And they put me in 4-inch heels.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I can't walk in 4-inch heels. I don't know. I if it's above 2 inches, my feet hurt looking at them.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's part of the humor. Because I had this cornucopia headdress and this great big huge turkey on my butt and snowmen on my boobs with great big huge carrot noses.
That sounds hilarious.
And I'm wobbling on these 4-inch heels, and my co-star is a man who's 6'4", and they put him in 3-inch heels, and he's walking better than me.
Yep.
And I'm just like, what is happening here? And he's dancing and doing the whole 9, and I'm like a newborn baby colt, trying to walk.
I put a 6'2" Roman Catholic priest in stiletto heels once.
Yes,
Yeah.
He actually managed pretty well.
he did very well.
It,
He
yeah.
did a side career as a cross-dresser at the Baton Club.
Well,
Yeah. It just, I understand about shoes, because they handed me these shoes, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna walk in them. And they're like, we don't need you to walk well in them.
We need you to walk funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, in the play, I come out with this. I mean, I had to walk sideways out onto the stage because the turkey was so big on my butt. And then I'm like trying to walk on these heels, and our exit is downstairs. And I wobbled over to the stairs like during the first rehearsal with these shoes. And I looked at my co-star and I kicked the shoes off my feet at him. And they were like, we love it, keep it. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I'm not going downstairs in those heels. There's no way. I've already got this cornucopia on my head and this turkey butt on my butt. There's no way I'm going down the stairs in heels. So
You're like a walking Bloody Mary, basically.
Oh, it was awful.
Carrots.
Yeah.
Yes. They made because we were supposed to be the 4 seasons. Very bad 4 seasons. So he was spring and summer, and I was fall and winter.
Oh, nice.
And everything had 25,000 pounds of glitter on it. So to this day, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Glitter's like COVID.
Yeah.
And that's where you don't know where it came from. You can't get rid of it.
Exactly. They had to deep clean the carpet of that theater 5 times before all the glitter came out. And after the play was over, I went to visit a friend of mine in Texas. And when I got home, she was like, you realize you left a trail of glitter everywhere you went in my house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how I've showered several times. And then I looked at the bottom of my shoes and it was like embedded. in my, and I had to throw away my shoes. So yeah.
So anyway, I've got to go study a script because I'm auditioning for a very big movie, actually.
Sweet.
So I've gotta
Fingers
go do
crossed
that.
for you.
Yes, thank you. The odds are like minuscule as always, but I got to do it. And
You never know.
Oh, you never know.
You never know.
so
you know.
it was lovely,
It was
lovely,
so
lovely
great.
visiting.
Yes,
with
great
One of my
talking to you guys.
favorites. So thank you for having us.
Yes,
Well, thank
really
you for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to have you guys on again. You guys have been just
Yeah, whenever you
amazing.
want to promote or talk, or even like I said, talk theater or movies, I don't care. We don't care. Just
Yeah.
come on back and say, hey, we got
You know, or just
we
give
got
us a
an
call. We'll talk
Yeah.
any, you know.
sure.
You know
We'll
what?
just talk.
The best thing to do would be the next time you have an opening or somebody drops out of an interview or something happens, just contact us and let us know. If we have the time, we will definitely come back.
Great.
Sounds
We'll
great.
keep them. We'll keep you in our back pocket as our emergency contact.
There
Then.
you go.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank
this-
you, Ian. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes.
no
Thank
problem.
you.
You guys have
It was a genuine pleasure.
Yeah.
you guys have a
Now I can
great
put my
day.
notes away for the next time.
All right.
All right.
Take care
Thank
now.
you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye. Okay, so that was Lorissa and CJ. I'm
Say
gonna
it right.
Julianus.
Exactly.
Julianus. I'm very paranoid about pronouncing names correctly. Talking about just a little bit of everything, but especially their movie, The Misadventures of Misstress Maneater.
There you go.
We saw it on Prime, but I guess it is available on various streaming services.
Oh yeah, and especially Tubi, Tubi, which is free with ads, which I'm a big Tubi enthusiast. So
Yes.
you can find a lot of really cool, obscure stuff, but that's a way you can see it without having to pay for it.
Exactly.
there you
So if you are a big supporter of independent movie makers like we are,
Yes.
go check it out. There's twists, there's turns, there's surprises. We can't talk about any of them because they have to be surprises.
And a feminist main character who kicks
Yes,
ass.
yes.
So we're all about that.
Yeah, dominatrix / PhD art student.
Mhm.
So that alone should get you interested.
Like, that's an interesting combination.
Yes.
I wonder what's going to happen.
Yes, and then she hooks up with an Episcopal priest. It sounds like the beginning of a joke,
It does.
but there are jokes.
Lots
But
of jokes. It's a lot of
yes,
fun.
yes. So
Action, comedy, fun.
yeah, so go check it out.
And like they're saying, deeper on some on different levels.
Definitely.
So you can pick that up as well.
Definitely.
It's
So
something for everybody.
yeah, so go check it out. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.